Stop scrolling for 1 second. If you have ever emptied your pockets into a jar, thrown loose change into a drawer, or inherited a tin of old coins from a grandparent, this video could change how you look at that jar forever. Today I'm holding a single coin. It looks ordinary. It's a little worn, a little dull, the kind of coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the pavement. It's a 1993 United Kingdom 2-pence coin, featuring Queen Elizabeth II. To 99 out of 100 people, this is worth exactly 2 pence and enough to buy nothing, not even a piece of candy. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Coin collecting, officially called numismatics, has an entire hidden economy built around coins exactly like this one. Somewhere out there, a coin that looks almost identical to this. Same year, same denomination, same queen on the front, sold for over £1,000. Not because it's made of gold, not because it's ancient, but because of one tiny printing error that 99 collectors out of 100 would miss if they weren't looking for it. So today, I'm going to walk you through everything about this coin, piece by piece, detail by detail, so that by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to look at any old coin in your house and tell whether it's just pocket change or whether it's something a collector would pay real money for. Here's what we're covering in the next 40 minutes. First, I'll break down exactly what this coin is and the denomination, the metal it's made of, and what all that Latin text around the Queen's head actually means. Second, we're going deep into the history of British coinage, why this coin looks the way it does, and how UK currency changed forever in 1971. Third, and this is the part everyone's been waiting for, I'll show you exactly which small details separate a 2-pence coin from a 2,000-pound coin. I'll show you real examples of coins that sold for life-changing money, and I'll explain precisely why. Fourth, I'm giving you a step-by-step system you can use on any coin, from any country, to check its rarity before you decide to keep it, sell it, or spend it. And finally, I'll show you where serious collectors go to buy, sell, and verify coins, so you don't get scammed by fake rare coin listings flooding social media right now. If you're the kind of person who has ever wondered, what if there's money hiding in my house that I don't know about, this is exactly that video. Grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Let's start with the fundamentals, because you can't spot something rare until you understand what normal looks like. In my hand is a coin from the United Kingdom. On the front, what collectors call the obverse. You see the profile portrait of Queen Elizabeth II facing right. Around the edge of the coin, in small capital letters, it reads Elizabeth II de Gregfed 1993. Now, most people glance right past that text without thinking twice, but it's actually a compressed piece of royal history written in Latin, abbreviations that date back centuries. Let me break it down. DG stands for Dei Gratia, which translates to by the grace of God. This phrase has appeared on British coinage for hundreds of years, asserting that the monarch's authority comes from a divine source, not merely from parliament or public vote. It's a leftover of a much older era of monarchy, preserved purely as tradition. Reg is short for Regina, the Latin word for queen. If this were a king on the coin, you'd see Rex instead. FD stands for Fide Defensor, meaning defender of the faith. This title was originally granted to King Henry VIII by the Pope in 1521, ironically, before Henry broke away from the Catholic Church entirely. Despite that dramatic history, English and later British monarchs kept the title, and it still appears on coins today. So that single line of text, Elizabeth II, DG Reg FD 1993, when fully translated reads, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God Queen, Defender of the Faith 1993. Now let's flip to the back of the coin, what collectors call the reverse. Here you'll see the words 2 pence, and beneath that, a striking design of 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet, with a ribbon underneath. This is known as the Prince of Wales's feathers, an official badge historically associated with the heir to the British throne. This particular design has been used on the 2-pence coin since decimalisation, connecting the coin visually to royal heritage even on something as small as pocket change. The coin itself is made from bronze, specifically an alloy of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. This is why it has that reddish-brown slightly warm tone rather than the silvery color you'd see on a 5 pence or 10 pence coin, which are made from cupronickel. Now here's a small technical detail that matters more than people realize. The size and weight. A UK 2 pence coin is 25.9 mm in diameter and weighs 7.12 grams. If you ever come across a 2 pence coin that feels noticeably lighter or heavier, or measures differently, that's actually one of the first signs of a minting anomaly, and those get collectors very excited. To understand why this particular coin looks the way it does, you have to go back to 1971, the year Britain fundamentally changed the way its money worked. Before 1971, the United Kingdom used a currency system that, frankly, sounds like a nightmare to anyone under the age of 50. There were 12 pence in a shilling, and 20 shillings in a pound, meaning there were 240 pence in 1 pound. There were coins with names like the farthing, the groat, the half-crown, and the florin. Doing basic math with this system required actual training, and it was increasingly seen as impractical for a modern economy trying to trade internationally. On February 15, 1971, day the British press nicknamed D-Day for Decimal Day, the United Kingdom switched to a decimal system. Suddenly, there were simply 100 pence in 1 pound. This is the system we still use today, and it's the system this 1993 2 pence coin belongs to. When decimalisation happened, entirely new coins had to be minted, including the brand new 2 pence piece you're looking at right now. Interestingly, coins minted between 1971 and 1981 actually said new pence on the back instead of 2 pence. The word new was used to help the public distinguish decimal currency from the old system during the transition period. Once the public had fully adjusted, the wording was officially changed to simply 2 pence. Starting in 1982, our 1993 coin falls into this later 2 pence era. This history matters enormously for collectors, because the switch between new pence and 2 pence created a famous minting mistake that we'll talk about in detail shortly, one that turned an ordinary 2 pence coin into one of the most searched for error coins in modern British numismatics. Here's something most people never notice. The portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on British coins was not the same throughout her 70-year reign. It actually changed 5 separate times, and each version has its own name, its own artist, and its own specific years of use. Learning to identify which portrait is on a coin is one of the fastest ways to date it, and to spot fakes or mismatched reproductions. The first portrait, used from 1953 to 1968, was designed by artist Mary Gillick. It shows a young queen, freshly crowned, without a crown itself. Instead, she wears a laurel wreath evoking a classical, almost Roman-inspired image of youthful monarchy. The second portrait, used from 1968 to 1984, was designed by Arnold Machin. This version shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. It has a softer, more realistic sculptural quality and was widely used across UK coinage during the entire decimalisation transition. The third portrait, and this is the one on our coin, was designed by Raphael Makhlouf and used from 1985 to 1997. Makhlouf's version is instantly recognizable for showing the Queen wearing a crown rather than a tiara, giving her a more formal, regal appearance. Makhlouf later explained in interviews that he deliberately created what he called a more classical, timeless image of the monarch, rather than a strictly photorealistic one. He wanted the portrait to represent the idea of the crown itself, not just an aging individual. If you look very closely at the base of the neck on coins with this portrait, you can sometimes spot the tiny initials RM, Makhlouf's signature mark. The fourth portrait, used from 1998 to 2015, was designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This version is more naturalistic and shows the Queen visibly older, reflecting a more honest, less idealized depiction as she aged. The fifth and final portrait, used from 2015 until her passing in 2022, was designed by Jody Clark, notably the first coin portrait of Elizabeth II ever designed digitally rather than sculpted by hand. Since our coin is dated 1993 and falls squarely within the 1985-1997 range, we can confirm with certainty that it carries the Makhlouf portrait, the crowned, formal image of the Queen. Why does this matter for value? Portrait type is one of the primary variables collectors use to categorize and catalog coins. Certain portrait and date combinations are far rarer than others, simply because far fewer coins were minted in some years compared to others. Knowing your portrait type is step one in figuring out where your coin fits into the bigger picture. Now for the part you've probably been waiting for. Let's be completely straightforward here, because a lot of content online exaggerates coin values to farm views, and I don't want to do that to you. The honest truth, a standard issue 1993 2-pence coin, in worn circulated condition, is not rare. Millions of 2-pence coins were struck every year throughout the 1990s for everyday circulation. This particular coin, exactly as it appears in my hand for showing normal wear, scratches and handling marks, realistically holds a collector value of maybe a few pence to perhaps 1 or 2 pounds at most, and only if a collector happens to want that specific date to complete a year set collection. That's not exciting, I know, but understanding the boring baseline is exactly what makes you able to recognize when something isn't boring, when something breaks the pattern. So what actually makes a coin like this valuable? Let's go through the 4 major factors collectors look for, one at a time. Factor 1, minting errors. This is where the real money is. A minting error happens when something goes wrong during the physical striking process at the mint. A die is damaged, a blank is fed incorrectly, or, as in our most famous UK 2-pence example, the wrong wording gets stamped onto the coin. Here's the single most famous error involving this exact coin type. In 1983, the Royal Mint had already officially switched the wording from new pence to 2-pence the year before. In 1982, however, a small number of 1983 dated 2-pence coins were mistakenly struck using an old, leftover new pence die instead of the correct 2-pence die. This was a genuine production mistake. Nobody at the mint intended for it to happen. Because this error slipped through quality control before anyone caught it, a limited number of these mismatched coins entered circulation. Decades later, collectors discovered how rare surviving examples were, and demand exploded. Verified 1983, new pence, 2-pence error. Coins have sold at auction and through certified dealers for anywhere between 200 and over 1,300 British pounds, depending on condition, with some exceptional near-mint examples reportedly fetching even more in private sales. This is a perfect real-world example of exactly what I'm talking about. A coin that looks almost identical to millions of others, worth pennies except for one specific year where a wording mistake turned it into something collectors actively hunt for. Every year the Royal Mint publishes and or eventually releases figures showing exactly how many coins of each denomination were struck. Some years had enormous mintage numbers in the hundreds of millions. Other years, for various economic or logistical reasons, had drastically lower mintage figures, sometimes in the low millions or even just hundreds of thousands. Lower mintage numbers directly correlate with rarity, and rarity is the single biggest driver of numismatic value. A coin from a low mintage year, even without any error, can command a meaningful premium over face value simply because there are fewer of them left in circulation or in collections today. In numismatics, condition is everything. Collectors use a standardized grading scale, ranging from poor through fine, very fine, extremely fine, all the way up to uncirculated and brilliant. Uncirculated, to describe exactly how well preserved a coin is. A coin that has spent decades in someone's pocket, jangling against keys and other coins, will show scratches, dulling, and edge wear, exactly like the coin I'm holding today. A coin that was pulled from a mint set and never actually spent, on the other hand, can retain its original sharp detail and shine, sometimes even decades later. The value difference between a worn, circulated example and a pristine, uncirculated example of the exact same date and design can be enormous, sometimes 10 times the price or more, especially for coins that are otherwise considered scarce. Factor 4, proof coins. Separate from regular circulation coins, the Royal Mint also strikes special proof coins specifically for collectors. These are struck using polished dies and specially prepared blanks, resulting in a mirror-like, ultra-sharp finish that regular circulating coins never have. Proof coins are never meant to be spent. They're sold directly to collectors in official packaging, often as part of annual proof sets. If you ever come across a coin that looks unusually shiny, sharp, and almost mirror-finished compared to a normal coin of the same date, it might be a proof strike, and those carry significantly higher collector value than circulated examples. Now I want to give you something practical, a system you can actually use today on any coin you find, whether it's British, American, Pakistani, Indian, or from anywhere else in the world. Step 1, identify the date. This sounds obvious, but write it down. The date is your starting point for every other piece of research. Step 2, read every word on the coin carefully, twice. This is exactly how the famous new pence error was eventually caught by regular people. Someone actually read the wording on a coin instead of glancing past it, and noticed it didn't match what should have been printed for that year. Step 3, identify the portrait or design version. As we covered earlier, monarchs, national symbols, and coin designs change over time. Knowing exactly which version you're looking at narrows down the possible date range and rarity category significantly. Step 4, look for mint marks. Many countries stamp a tiny letter or symbol somewhere on the coin, indicating which specific mint facility produced it. These marks are often extremely small and require a magnifying glass to spot. Step 5, assess the condition honestly. Look for scratches, discoloration, flattened details, or edge damage. Be honest with yourself here. Most inherited coins have circulated for years and will show real wear. Step 6, check the weight and size if you're serious. A cheap digital kitchen scale and a ruler or calipers can help you spot if a coin deviates from its official specifications, another sign of a potential error or, less excitingly, a counterfeit. Step 7, cross-reference with official sources. For UK coins, the Royal Mint's own website publishes official mintage figures and historical coin data. For error coins and market pricing specifically, established numismatic auction archives and reputable coin dealer websites are far more reliable than random social media posts. Step 8, if you genuinely believe you have something valuable, get a second opinion from a professional grading or authentication service before selling. This protects you from underselling a genuinely rare coin, and it also protects you from embarrassingly overpricing something common. I want to save you from some very common and very costly mistakes people make when they first get into coin collecting. Mistake 1, cleaning the coin. This is, without exaggeration, the single most damaging thing new collectors do. The instinct is understandable. You find an old, dull, dirty coin and you want to polish it up and make it shine. Please resist this urge. In numismatics, the natural surface aging on a coin, called patina, is actually considered part of its authentic history and is protected and valued by serious collectors. Aggressively cleaning, polishing, or scrubbing a coin creates fine scratches, invisible to the naked eye but obvious under magnification, and it can reduce a coin's value by 50% or more, sometimes rendering it essentially worthless to serious buyers. The natural oils, salts, and acids on human skin can slowly react with metal surfaces over time, causing discoloration or corrosion. This is exactly why you'll notice I've been wearing gloves while handling this coin throughout the video. It's standard practice among serious collectors, especially for coins you believe might have real value. There is a huge amount of misleading content online, including on video platforms, claiming that extremely common coins are worth thousands of pounds or dollars. Always cross-check any value claim against actual completed sales on reputable platforms or auction archives, not just listing prices, since anyone can list an item for an inflated price without ever actually selling it at that price. If you think you've found something valuable, take a breath, research thoroughly, get verification if needed, and understand roughly what similar verified examples have actually sold for before agreeing to any sale. While we're on the subject, let me quickly mention a few other British coins that collectors specifically search for, so you know what else to look out for in your own collection. The 1983 UK Two Pence error, which we already covered in detail, remains one of the most famous and consistently valuable modern British error coins. The 2009 Kew Gardens 50 pence coin, featuring the pagoda design from London's Royal Botanic Gardens, had an unusually low mintage of just over 200,000, extremely small for a circulating coin, and has sold for well over £100 in good condition. Several coins from the 2011-2012 London Olympics commemorative 50 pence series also carry premium values due to design errors or limited mintage, particularly the aquatics design, which originally featured swimming lines across the swimmer's face before being corrected in later production runs. So let's bring this all together. What started as one ordinary-looking 1993 2-pence coin turned into a full walkthrough of British currency history, royal portraiture across 7 decades, real minting errors that turned pocket change into 1,000-pound collectibles, and a complete practical system you can now use on literally any coin you come across for the rest of your life. Here's the honest takeaway. This specific coin, as it sits in my hand right now, is not going to make anyone rich. It's a normal circulated 1993 2-pence piece, and that's okay. Not every coin needs to be a lottery ticket for this to be worth your time. What matters is that you now know exactly what to look for. You know to check the wording carefully. You know to check the date against known mintage and error years. You know that condition changes everything, and that cleaning a coin can destroy its value instead of improving it. You know where to actually verify prices instead of trusting random claims online. That knowledge is genuinely valuable, whether or not the coin in front of you happens to be. So here's what I want you to do right now. Before you close this video, go find that jar of loose change, that drawer of forgotten coins, or that box your grandparent left behind. Pull out anything that looks old, worn, or unusual. Check the date. Read the wording carefully twice. Compare it against what you learned today. You might find nothing special, and that's completely normal. That's what happens most of the time, even for experienced collectors. But every single major coin discovery in history started with someone willing to actually look closely instead of assuming an old coin was just an old coin. If this video helped you, do 3 things for me. First, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this kind of educational content reach more people who'd find it useful instead of getting buried by algorithms. Second, drop a comment telling me what coins you found in your own house while watching this. Even if you think they're nothing special, I read every single comment, and I'm planning a future video specifically covering coins that viewers send in. Third, if you haven't already, subscribe and turn on notifications, because I'm covering a completely different rare coin, and eventually rare banknotes too in upcoming videos, and you don't want to miss those. If you found a coin today that you think might genuinely be rare after using the checklist from this video, don't rush to sell it to the first buyer you find online. Take your time, verify it properly through legitimate sources, and protect yourself from both underselling something valuable and overpaying attention to something common. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. This has been a deep dive into something most people walk past every single day without a second thought. I'll see you in the next video. And until then, hold on to your coin.